higher priority on Nocturne, even with the Orianna out of the pool. So curious if they want to take out... Oh, okay, Viban. I was going to say, go for a Rumble ban. Like, it really feels like they're setting up for Rumble, but I will say playing Rumble into Nocturne is kind of hard, because Nocturne can turn off the lights, really attack you on the side lane. So if it ends up being... I think NIP is a real choice between taking the Nocturne and the Rumble here. I prefer the Nocturne side.
This is continuing with exactly what they've done the last couple of games, right? They go, whatever it is, Guwon needs a champion that's good.
Yeah, so now, I mean, you get the breathe answer, but you expect now to be attacked by something like Nocturne and maybe Ornn coming out from Hoya, as a lot of the other answers in a Rumble are gone. Better play a dedicated side lane or really make sure that your game is playing to get rid of the Rumble. But with Rumble locked in, opportunity to maybe answer Nocturne in the jungle or take priority elsewhere, as we have seen IG putting a heavy emphasis on taking their bot lane early on in these drafts, and it has not paid off for them, as Assum and Zhuo have used the counters well.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, are we really first picking bot lane again? Like, it hasn't worked out 2 games in a row, but maybe this is the time, guys. It is just the Varus, so TBD what the support will be. I like the idea of Jhin, but for the lane, not so much. This is more of a team fight setup for Nocturne sort of pick, which can let the game be played through Guwon because Jhin enables so much. And Anivia technically a flex here.
Technically a flex. This, we'll see if it is in the hands of Zhuo or not. Varus is already a pick that Anivia can really punish down there, so I think there's a little bit more credence to Anivia's support in the draft, but with a Jhin showing early on, that is a champion that can be punished with tanks. So interested. I mean, Rumble is in that kind of tank position. Probably not a lot of beefiness to take elsewhere, but okay, we have a Skarner. Skarner saw some pretty big buffs, Dia. We had another 2% max HP damage given over to the Q. So I'm going to give a shout out to Fiji in NACL, who actually played this top in a Renekton and played it for a win. That buff was big enough that Skarner has kind of re-emerged the pick that we're seeing in these later Fearless games.
And especially if you want to deal with a potential top tank like an Ornn that NIP could draft later, Skarner will have special effectiveness into that with the way that he's able to deal with front lines and sort of siphon them off or circumvent them entirely by finding a nice impale. The Jhin should be able to play from relative safety, so I'm very curious what ends up getting locked in for Care if it is not to be this Anivia. But right now, IG are not being fooled by the Anivia lock-in, taking away Aurora. They are betting, as are we, that Anivia is going into the bot lane.
Yeah, I kind of like that Aurora, too, because it does cover the matchup in a Rumble, which is also quite useful. So kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone there. As Akali taken out, pairing that maybe, I got to say again, Renard's a new player, one that we're not too familiar with. Could be a pairing that not only good with the Skarner, but also could play into maybe what they might be looking for mid. As TF taken away is a bit of a surprise.
They worried about a Sylas here, maybe? If you're taking away TF, taking away Aurora, you've got a Rumble, you've got a Skarner, Varus. I mean, technically a possibility. Should they want to? Mid lane is open.
I would have liked to Bard ban a lot there. Bard's been banned for the entirety of the series, Tia, and I think not banning Bard there and giving that over would have been just kind of a nice single, like, yep, don't have that. Really easy to execute in Jhin and Anivia, but that Nocturne might be coming with a pretty fat shield behind it. That ends up being the Shen top, still flexible, as Shen can go support, but usually not in the Bard. And Anivia can go support or mid, but frankly, kind of expecting that to be support, Shen top, and maybe a Care Yone. Wow.
Do it!
Okay.
Yeah. I'm excited. I mean, seeing Care's Yone is going to be theoretically a treat. Could go either way, especially if IG choose to take a volatile matchup like this. Then it'll be extremely dependent on jungle attention, something that honestly neither jungler really wants to do early on. Skarner would sure like to hit 6, and Nocturne, I would say it's even more important for him to hit 6.
All right, well, we have an IG LeBlanc. I know the Orianna wasn't exactly what we were hoping to see fill in the shoes of rookie, but I'm curious to see if Renard rocks rookie skin, as he will be taking that champion. And it gives you a lot of mobility. Oh, boy. Okay. Dia, were we remiss by saying that Anivia is flexible between mid and support and not also mentioning Anivia top here, which could be going into the Rumble?
Oh, my God. I was not... Okay.
Yeah. They can't change it now. This is Anivia top.
I saw the shed and thought, ha ha ha, that would be so funny. And obviously a stupid thing for me to say.
No, it wasn't stupid. I wasn't seeing this either. I thought this is a Zeus only thing.
Yeah.
It looks to be a little bit more than a Zeus only thing, as Hoya is going to take a ranged top laner into this Rumble.
Let me change this on my sheet real quick. I mean, it is going to change a lot of how the top lane matchup can play out. In terms of how the composition plays out, Anivia having a lot more damage is going to matter. But I don't think that Anivia needs a lot of gold to be functional in this composition. A lot of this is going to be, a lot more zoning from Anivia than damage, at least in my opinion. Because you look at things like LeBlanc, Varus, Skarner, and Rumble are maybe the only two that might get affected by an Anivia, and even then, Rumble can get a lot of effectiveness face tagging Anivia. So it has to be a pick for lane, surely.
It is. It's really dominant in lane. It skills nicely, and we'll see what he can do this game as we're rocking with Anivia top, diving into our game 3 on the night.
You'd think NIP fans would be, a little bit more juiced after last game. It was a pretty exciting one, but as it is, IG still getting a little bit more support from the crowd. Perhaps the favorites still not wearing off even after their loss last game. I will notice real early on, we've got this bit of counter jungling that I think is spotted by IG, but not stopped.
This is pretty unstoppable out of the Nocturne, as with your level 1 between the passive, the Q, the extra damage you get from the Q if you're on it, it's hard to fight, and he deletes your Raptors, so it's going to be a Raptors takeaway start for Guwon, as that's part of why we're seeing a lot of Nocturne priority, and frankly a lot of Nocturne bans, because a lot of matchups he just gets off to a good start that you cannot stop. So Guwon, we'll see what he does from here. That said, I think story of the series so far, Dia, has to be that IG's bot lane has been getting blasted.
Yep. They have not had a good time, and honestly, I would be extremely surprised if that were to repeat itself in this game, because Jhin shouldn't be slamming this lane, whereas actually LeBlanc could do some serious work into Carzione.
There is an Ignite. See if Renard's able to find it. I think there was... I didn't see if a chain was casted and missed there, or if a chain was saved. Either way, Kare's playing a little bit of a game of cat and mouse here. As he dips into fog, Renard shoves out this lane. And Renard, of course, is playing with no TP. So he, importance on getting a good base for the LeBlanc, very, very high.
Ends up shoving this wave into tower as well. I think the majority of this is going to be picked up by Care, but not in its entirety. LeBlanc can sort of keep doing this, mana being the real only gate here. Guwon secures.
Ooh, they got the smite.
Ooh.
No, I mean, the fact they got the smite. Oh, Zhuo missed! Ooh.
Not great for NIP. This doesn't have to be a disaster. We can walk this out. Flash out from Guwon just makes that all the safer. It's tough. It's not great. Missing the Gromp and then losing your flash. Bad. This invade, terrible.
Yeah, I don't think that play was there for NIP. I think once that Guwon smites the Gromp, you have to give the crab. I was a little bit surprised to see Zhuo pushing as hard as he was. As Zwei's here burning some time, which is not bad. I mean, this has given some power over to the bot lane for the Varus.
Draws Care over as well.
Yeah.
Zhuo's got taunt.
They got it.
IG are just running the jungle right now. I mean, Smite and a stun into the
No
wall
flash.
as well. Guwon not only loses his time, but is going to lose his life. First blood over to Jwei. And IG are asserting themselves in NIP's jungle at 4 minutes.
Yeah, I'm being honest, Dia. I didn't exactly see a play there from NIP. I don't know what happened, and now we're split. As our jungler was dead, Zhuo was forced to reset, and Assum's gonna bear the brunt.
And Mako grabbing the tower aggro makes that all the safer. IG have answered one of the questions that we had coming out of Game 1, which is, will NIP be able to get a better early game than IG? No. No, they will not.
No. Doesn't seem that way. As props to Jwei and Mako working together early. I think that Mako's last game wasn't his best, as maybe one of the few of those tidal waves back. That time around, syncing up nicely with his jungler. They take away, I mean, camps and more. It's a lot of pressure they were able to find, too, as Zhuo's down pretty bad for XP. That hurts, because Bard gets free XP and can roam faster, and Shen would love 6.
Kerr is definitely feeling the Bard roam right now. Mako tanks up the tower once again, just to let a little bit of extra damage go on to the NIP mid laner. Kerr should be able to survive and farm this wave, but Yone has absolutely no autonomy over this lane right now. He is being dictated to by the LeBlanc matchup.
Get that, and Mako with the help, too. This is, honestly, a start that IG has yet to have in the series, Dia. As again, the first 2 games, the story has really been NIP has gotten counterpick bot, and they have cashed in. And they were able to turn that into 1 victory. Other game probably should have been a victory, but you
Oh! He gets it!
Oh, boy.
In Guwon's face, Renard gets that kill.
Well, you know, the W, the shield was down, and the Ignite comes through. Renard, that's a nice kill. As Yone does not have access to TP, does not yet have access to those tier 2 boots, so we'll continue to feel the pain. Meanwhile, nice walk from Jachi. Pops the cleanse. Guwon isn't dipping down into the dragon to see if it started or not. It's going to be Jwei taking it, and IG off to an even bigger early game lead here.
Since we're securing the dragon,
they can get this right.
Start shifting the conversation, but only after IG complete the play. Assum forced to flash out over the wall, and Wei's actually going to chase him. Really wants this kill, and will secure it. Renard's here to back him up on Guwon as well. Could turn into more. Flash forward from Mako. Guwon slowed up and stunned, chained, killed in this game. 6 minutes in, we are up 5-0, and a dragon for IG. It is looking good for the IG fans that kept their faith after Game 2.
Yeah, I don't love these fights coming out from NIP. I just think that, like, that fight wasn't there. The fight we saw around the blue buff wasn't there. And things have kind of gone from what should be not great to far worse. I also think that the Shen and Anivia swap, you know, I can see the Anivia top, but I think Shen's support into Bard Varus is very hard and makes the lane much harder for them down there. As, yeah, we're seeing some fun with Anivia. Isn't that fun, Dia?
That's fun.
Break the wave like that?
I mean, I appreciate the observers showcasing it as they catch this as well. Guwon's first ult into the mid lane. Looks pretty good, but Renard get the passive popped and they're unable to finish the kill. Meanwhile, Assum, not having a great time down bot lane, is going to be picked up. Mid laner for IG survives, and it is 1-0 in the favor of Invictus Gaming.
This game feels pretty over. Like, bot's ugly right now, as Jachi is up real big. 3 kills and a level. We've seen mid not be able to be turned, and this duo between Mako and Jwei, what they've been able to get done versus what Guwon and Zhuo have been able to get done has been drastically different so far.
Taking a look in the picture-in-picture of what exactly went on bot lane, and that's the life of an AD carry. Especially in this game, Skarner is going to be doing that a lot.
That was nice. As Jwei, again, props to Jwei on the Skarner. A pick that I think got a really big buff for a kit that is already quite strong. And he's doing good so far. As there's no paranoia available and grubs will be taken, so IG dominating the early neutrals and dominating the early game. As signs of slowing down, I mean, you gotta believe it's like gotta come through the solo lanes, but there's been no real lead for either solo lane here for NIP.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, deficit in the mid lane, just given what Renard's been able to do so far. I could definitely see a world where Care gets a lot of time, and I mean a lot of time in a side lane, and we play it out like that. But that'll also rely on IG having pretty poor objective control, because the fact that they've gotten first dragon should mean that they're able to take this game pretty darn early. They play their cards right. We have the possibility of yet another Infernal Soul, as second dragon is going to be an Ocean Drake, and even the contest for their own jungle not going super well. Jwei does get engaged on Care in to finish the kill, so a overstep punished by Jwei on this Skarner. First kill given over to NIP, and it's on to Care.
That was a lot burned for that. They really wanted that kill. As... oh?
Here we come. Paranoia right onto Renard again. Ignited, backing away. Temper Fate won't save him, but Renard doesn't need no hero. He gets out himself.
Really nice. I thought that NIP might be able to find him because they had Ignite down, so you're going to identify who the clone is because they're the one that is not going to have Ignite, right? But Renard able to play out of that one real nicely. Care is going to get a plate for himself, but Renard gets the rest of the wave and honestly doesn't lose all too much, so I think IG is going to be okay with that.
We'll see how it plays out in the late game. But early game, I'm liking Renard's LeBlanc. He looks really comfortable on this champion, especially into this matchup. The way that he's played so far gives me a lot of hope for what he'll be able to do later on in the game when his job does become a lot more flexible, shall we say. There's a lot more opportunities for LeBlanc to go in for assassinations than play pseudo-control mage. Right now, top lane becoming the focus, however, for NIP as in comes Zhuo and Breathe. It's not going to get the chance to play the game. Instead, trying to burn down Hoya, who still has egg, mind you.
I like this. So, NIP with the swap, one of the issues is that they weren't able to get grubs. We're just going to slow this down a lot, but they're pretty much opting out of this upcoming dragon. And they try to make a proactive play on the map. They actually are going to get a few waves where in a very losing matchup, I mean, bot lane's not going well. They are at least able to get a priority play and get Assum something. He gets 2 plates for himself, and they got the kill on the top side. They weren't going to fight this dragon. They were likely going to lose it, and bot wasn't going well. So by doing something proactive with a Shen, they actually make something happen that's positive. I'm a fan of that.
I mean, and hopefully they are able to translate that. This is going to require the game not get too far out of control, something that IG do seem keen on not allowing to happen as they cyberbully Care, chasing him into the red pit and actually double flashing over the wall to secure this kill. Renard jumps over to try and actually get the extra gold for himself, but it'll be Jwei that gets the plus 300 before looking for these Raptors again. Will he be punished the second time for going for Raptors? Looks like the answer is yes, although he does get quite a bit of health back and actually turns the play around. Zhuo is low, so is Guwon. Every single kill going the way of IG!
Well, Dia, it was the new item, the harness, the healing, and the lack of damage from NIP. They turned that one on its head. And that's not what NIP was hoping for. As, again, that is a lot of power going into the Skarner. He is going for Bandle Pipe second. That's kind of funny. We'll see if Renard can get out of this. Assum had a flash. Flash crit maybe could have gotten the block, but not going to be gone for. And again, this game just kind of continues to cruise in favor of IG.
Literally not once have I built that item. I've seen it. I've thought about it.
Oh, yeah?
Not a single time. I mean, to be fair.
The pipes or the harness?
The harness. The harness.
Okay.
Yeah. The pipes, you know.
This was nice.
It was.
That was really... like, you catch him on the back half of that Q3, by the way, which is... where you can kind of hit the chain and they don't have the ability to dodge. It locks you out. And then he hits a third chain. So we got 3 chains here from Renard, and Jwei still takes the kill. I feel like that's unjust, but They did double flash for it. On the flip, though, I mean, Jin's kind of stops firing, and the damage stops coming down. And Renard is still here in big. I mean, they chain the root onto the stuns on the Zhuo really well, so Shen pretty much gets one shot. And Guwon just doesn't have the damage to get through the Skarner, so more kills going over to IG, and another poor choice by NIP.
So Guwon, pretty behind. 0 and 3 right now. Care, pretty behind. 1 and 2. Anivia is Anivia, so being relatively even, things are good. And unfortunately, Jin is Jin, so being even, at least in terms of damage, things are pretty bad. IG have a lot more ability to play the game right now.
That they do. As Hoya, we haven't talked about the Anivia a lot, but Hoya's been granted some free time based on just the game being played away from it. It is at least up in the matchup as both ults come down mid. Shen's there too.
A lot easier to execute this time on an immobile AD carry. Guwon's paranoia finally goes right for NIP. This is the key for them getting back into this game in a meaningful way. It unfortunately is not around a meaningful timer. The next dragon, third one, could be for IG. It's going to be Hextech's, going to be a Hextech Rift this time around. So NIP, I mean, you'd like to start stacking it. Fortunately, you're not facing down another Infernal, although to be honest, playing into Hextech with IG just ahead. Yeah.
Hextech Soul is that's a win con in itself. And I mean, for this game, you see some of the positives of the Shen Nocturne, but again, those ults are such long cooldowns. And if all you're getting from those ults is to take down an AD carry, and you're burning flashes on top of that, like, is that really enough? Joshi's flash is down. We'll see if they can punish with this next objective coming up, but it can be hard to get back to the poke Varus. So I'm, again, I think that this is still very IG favored. And the win cons for NIP, I mean, that's the other issue, is that you kind of want to get Yone Bork plus in order for him to start doing work. And there's not even a Bork yet on Care, as we're 30 seconds away from this, what could be soul point. So I think Care's going to get it out of base here. But it really speaks to how far behind he is, that we just got the Bork now, this late into the game, as the third dragon is spawning, and priority is not in favor of NIP, as Care is still coming out of base.
One thing that is nice is that Guwon is a constant. He is ulting on cooldown, and it's working out. He's picked the right target. Unfortunately, does get impaled, dragged a little closer to the tower, and Breathe is teleported in as well. So the play gets away from NIP, as into the Rift Herald goes Jwei, being blocked immediately by the Anivia. So nice heads-up play from Hoya. Saves this for NIP. It's a 1-for-1 instead of a 1 for a whole lot worse.
Yeah, I thought that Mako ult was maybe a bit brief towards Joshi, but at least with Breathe there, they were able to turn things around, and this will be the Dragon going over to IG. So a trade of kills, and honestly a decent effort from NIP. You can still see this game is not in their favor at the script at the moment.
This third Dragon really raising the question, though. I mean, we were talking about NIP win conditions, especially the Yone needing to be accelerated towards some items. We'll take a look back at this replay, though, and see how Guwon is helping the team out.
He got the ult down. It's a nice stun over the, taunt over the wall from Zhuo. But the stun from Mako was a little bit better. And, I mean, again, that was a pretty big commit. Care wasn't in the fight yet. And I think a lot of the power of Care is going to come from side laning. But because of how far behind he was set by Bernard and the rest of IG, that Bork being late, and he just has access to it now. And I don't even know how much he can really get done on this side lane, as if Bernard gets help, might be able to take down the Yone. I think that's where starting to track the Nocturne and the Shen ultimates are going to be, that's going to be really important for IG. So if they go for any play away from Nox Shen, and Nox Shen's able to respond, I think that's a scenario that we could see NIP realistically get back in a game that has been all IG so far.
Speaking of, you know, we're tracking them ourselves. We do have Nocturne and Shen ult both up at this moment, so even somebody like Renard does have to be careful as he is side laning. Yep. A little bit safer on the LeBlanc, but in a long lane, especially if he pushes up, chasing LeBlanc down is actually realistic for a Yone plus Nocturne.
Yeah. Jwei get poked out. I think that's a good shout. Again, maybe where the NIP comp was really hoping to be big around this Yone and why it was so important that Care was set behind early. So we can't see that Care is surviving a little bit more of that big burst and poke damage that comes out of Renard, but it's not been enough to at least start hitting these turrets or making a difference getting plates that way, which is big win for IG. In fact, they keep on delaying this, so I think Renard and IG is still very happy with where this game is at. Baron spawns in 15 seconds, but IG not exactly a comp built to take Baron between Poke, Varus, and LeBlanc, so I think it's going to remain to be a Dragon focus here.
Should work out for them, as right now just a little bit of vision control should be enough to dissuade any sort of Baron sneak from NIP, who, to be fair, don't have the easiest time of it themselves. With Anivia Yone, it's a little bit more possible, but you gotta drag them out of side lanes, and Jin's not taking Baron, so it's gonna be a little while until we really see NIP with a realistic chance of contesting this. At least 2 minutes, which brings up the whole other issue of, can you stop one of the deadliest souls in the game from being taken?
Yeah, that's I'm kind of with you on that. We really have to, like, we hate to hit Baron comps in front of us, you know. Be all about this soul coming up. You did see IG do a decent job in game 2 of at least trying to slow down or deny the soul stack of an IP. That 4th dragon, I think this one's going to be a little bit harder, though. Because, again, like, you really need Yone and Anivia to be able to stretch this map a little bit, get some side lane priority, and then use that to try and bleed into dragon or objective priority. But every time we pan mid, it's just Varus auto-clearing waves, and IG are the stronger team that have been able to get that bot lane river priority when they want it. So, NIP's ability to challenge, I think it's going to be quite difficult.
One of the other concerns that we should note is that the majority of the lead for IG is on their frontliner, which into a Yone who is behind, into an Anivia who can't realistically stop Skarner, is much more of a problem than it might be in another composition where you at least have frontliners to deal with the opposing frontliner. What's going off up top lane, though, is we are making the Shen Nocturne play on the opposite side of where the dragon will spawn, but in the right timing. Breathe is going to fall. NIP get to extend this side lane a little bit more, open things up for Hoya, and create a threat that they can hopefully turn into an objective as they move a little bit further down the rift.
Well, no paranoia, no stand united for the dragon. So NIP, they have control over this side. They're going to hit the Baron. I think that given Zhuo showing that control war, that's going to tip the hat off to IG that it's a maybe. They're on there. I just don't know how much IG cares. Like, if they take Hextech Soul for the Baron, which they're going to get for free right now, that is a very worth and worthy trade. They can't even complete the Baron.
NIP are way too low, and Jiachi is showing up. His arrow could just kill everyone. In it comes. Care is deleted. Hoya trying to run from the pit, where we've got a Baron served up, leashed, and ready for IG. Guwon is going to go down. IG get the mid lane. They get a double kill on Breathe. They get the Baron, and NIP gamble and lose big time.
This was a series. This was a series of all time. I don't know what happened in the last 2 games between the ending of game 2, which if you missed out on it, please go to our socials, LPL English on Twitter, and check it out. It was disgusting, but in a beautiful way. This was also disgusting, but in a far less beautiful way. Again, I think it's really tough to fight Dragon when you're down Paranoia, down Stand United, but it begs the question, why even fire that play onto the Rumble and not save the tools, actually try to contest the Hextech Soul? I don't even care about the Baron going over. I just care about the fact he gave up Hextech Soul. That even if that Baron doesn't go over, you're still giving Soul for free. And for what? A Baron? What are you going to get with one Baron against the team with Hextech Soul? Instead, they get the whole kit and caboodle as well, so it goes from bad to worse. But, like, why are we in this position in the first place?
And IG, as you mentioned, knew this the whole time. They saw Zhuo.
Yes.
They flagged that this was a possibility, and importantly, they knew they had time. There's nobody there but an Anivia and a Nocturne, and while Anivia, well, I'll hold the point while Care dies. All right, well, an Anivia and I'll hold the point while Mako actually
More attempts.
Mako might survive. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Flash forward actually from Zhuo does catch Jackie, who goes down. Wei's here to try and answer that onto Zhuo, but Mako's a little bit too low to get involved. Maybe not, I say, as he snipes Guwon over the wall. Mako collects that kill, and it's a 3-for-1 in the favor of IG, who have Baron and Hextech Soul.
Yeah, they're not beating Hextech Soul. This is a game that's going to leave us scratching our heads a little bit. As how both teams played around Baron and some of these big neutral objectives. Let's just say that this was definitely a series played earlier on in the split, Dia. We have some scaling to do on both sides here between IG and NIP. As I think we can make some better decisions around these big objectives.
Yeah, I would agree. Again, what did we do? Like, Anivia, sure, can do the Baron. Yone even can do the Baron. Awesome, probably gonna die, given what the observer's given me right now. I will say I've really liked Renard's LeBlanc. Like,
it's been fun.
He is not playing too fancy. Like, he's not getting too big for his britches. He's not trying to force plays as an assassin, but he's making it work.
That was actually a really nice escape here from Mako. Because I can kind of understand going for the Nocturne Shen play then, because Rumble and LeBlanc were showing in a top wave equal to River. Hold on, playing picture-in-picture.
It just keeps going. IG know that they have the brute force advantage. Hextech Soul, and nearly 10,000 gold lead, and I think the Baron just about to expire, if not expiring as we speak. IG have the ability to win this game. It's a matter of when and how they do it. And now's as good a time as any, picking up the inhibitor. They could look for the end of the game here, given the death timers. 27 seconds left on the biggest wave clear for NIP. Guwon's going to have to engage with his face, and it's up to Care to make some magic, miracle play happen, and he doesn't get to play League of Legends.
Nice route from Jachi. Burns to the Ignite from Reynard and the rest of the team. As this was a series, Dia. We had excitement. Okay, we're going to have a little bit more excitement, as IG don't feel like pulling it off quite yet. I mean, if you're NIP, you can at least come away with our bot lane played well in lane today. I think that's a real positive, and definitely a concern that I have for IG moving forward.
And I'll throw a little bit of love this way as well. Guwon, pretty good news story for the team. Still the case. Outside of, missing the smite in game one, that, any jungler, it's going to happen to them. And of course, this game where Nocturne hasn't really had a lot of impact, I don't think I can really blame this loss on Guwon. I think he's been a really active jungler. I like the way that he's been going about this.
Yeah, I think this draft we cooked a little bit too hard on the side of NIP. I think that's where I've landed.
You think the Shen support into a Nivea flex top was maybe a mistake?
Yeah, I think I think not banning Bard was an oopsie. And then if we're going to run a Nivea with Yone, I think Jin's not quite enough damage. But everyone kind of hates on Jin, and you saw Rumble early and Varus. I think that's one of the better conditions for Jin.
Yeah.
If we're going to play it, Jin's still not great.
And I think the issue with Jin here is, like, not so much compositional, although that does exist, but the fact that Assum has been just straight up winning lane.
Yep.
And Jin keeps that from happening. Zhuo did die, in case you guys missed it. In case you blinked, Renard took him out, but Guwon wants to make that right and commits onto Jachi before getting impaled and falling himself. Assum is able to collect a kill onto the slightly overextended Rumble, but a triple kill for Renard makes the boo-boo go away. IG very happy with this fight so far and are going to pick up yet another inhibitor. They are playing things slow, controlled, and even as we get a little bit silly, I'm not particularly concerned about IG's chances in this game.
Nope. I mean, again, I think LeBlanc this game, it's pretty much all conditional CC for LeBlanc, if you think about it. And we've even seen Renard like use distortion to get out of a taunt, which was quite nice. But we're seeing some of the power of LeBlanc or some other champs when you don't have those point-and-click CCs in the game. And they had this in mind. I mean, they wanted the Yone, they banned the Akali, right? That's a pick that can be played quite well in the Yone and also benefits in a game with a lot of lack of crowd control, especially the point-and-click variety. But to see Renard in an IG team, not using IG LeBlanc, but that's okay, play LeBlanc at this level, that's got to be kind of a good sign for IG fans at home. That maybe this young little mid laner can step in and fulfill the shoes of an LPL legend. Zhuo, an attempt was made.
3 items on care. How are we feeling? The NIP scaling win condition.
How
are we feeling? Elder Dragon being taken. How are we feeling?
They didn't even look at it. Probably not good.
Okay, wait. Guwon goes in. If Guwon gets the steal, he's a legend. He does not get the steal. That's okay. I still love him. NIP, unfortunately, though, are not going to be feeling the love. That's a fun ult, but it's not going to save your game. And at this point, what would? Double kill for Xiaoqi. Hoya does a lot of damage, if anybody cares.
I like your that's a fun ult call. That gave me joy. Hoya's going down. Yeah.
There we go.
Yep. All right. Wrap it up, Dio.
Yeah. We're calling this one in. It's been a wild series. It has had its ups and downs for both IG and NIP, but ultimately it is Invictus Gaming that come out on top. The 3rd time in a month that these two teams have played each other. And IG, in terms of the series record, keep themselves on top.
You know, I feel kind of uninspired at the end of that series. I should feel pretty inspired. We saw some heroics from both teams. We saw plays we never thought were even possible in League of Legends, Dia. we saw a 0-0-0 player get an MVP vote and unfortunately not win the series. This was quite a joy. I will say, made me happy to see Renard have a good game 3 and Mako kind of bring it back in the series. I think Mako had a bit of a stinky series until that last game where he went off on the Bard.
His Bard was crazy, actually.
That was very good. So a ban that I think NIP wants back in a series that was gettable for NIP. We came into the day saying that this could be competitive. We know the community sentiment a lot higher for IG, but NIP blitz Team WE off the Rift in the first series and have that cohesive synergy from last split that the new IG lineup that has 4 out of the 5 new members in it are really still looking to have. And we did see some of the holes from that with IG today, but still a win's a win for IGs. They find a pretty dominant Game 3 victory to make sure the series goes their way.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like we were talking about, this does feel like it comes down to a lot of smaller factors, perhaps bigger when we look at them in-game, but some very weird play coming out of both IG in their loss and even NIP in this 3rd game where they ultimately fell. First game felt a lot closer, felt a lot more like we were getting a sense of what these teams are about. Game 2 felt like a giga throw, where NIP, granted, were playing a good game. And Game 3, I don't think NIP just ever really logged in.
It didn't feel that way. I mean, I think the plays they tried to go for early being turned around, you could really see how, for folks that might have missed it, they tried to defend their blue buff at level 4. And man, IG really took that fight and ran with it, won with it. I think the duo of Jwei and Mako played a lot better across the map. And the duo of the Nocturne Shen, which we saw them get small wins when they used the big cooldowns, but really nothing outside of that. And when those big cooldowns are down, not exactly the same champion. And IG were able to make pretty good use out of finding those windows to find those fights and skirmishes and win.
One of the things that I'd love to see NIP continue with from this series, if we exclude Game 3, is Assum. Assum did play incredibly into a bot lane that both in draft and from players on paper, they should be winning. IG should, with Xiaoqi and Mako, base slamming Assum and Zhuo, and I say that with all love and respect in my heart for Assum and Zhuo. I'm really excited that that didn't happen, because it means that Assum and Zhuo, to a degree, have leveled up significantly from what we saw in Split 1, and I want them to continue doing that. Where NIP started with these more standard drafts, I think is the key to success for Ninjas in Pyjamas, be it against IG, be it in other teams in Group Ascent.
Yeah, I think those are some good shouts, and Assum definitely deserves some credit and kudos for how well he played. I also just want to make sure that we get those games that Assum is able to more consistently carry, because going back into the series, I mean, you highlighted the dragon that was stolen in that game 1, that third dragon that really helped enable IG to get to that early soul. When I go back to that game, I also think of that public execution that hit Assum in the middle of mid. He had flash up, caught it, he goes down, and that was a big swing of the game that went IG's favor. So sometimes it's moments like that where, you have the lead, you have the gold as an AD carry, you got to make sure you can play cleanly. Well, this game, going back to game 1, Dia, we did see one team with all the neutrals and none of the gold, and the team with the neutrals won. This time they got all the neutrals and all the gold, and they made pretty quick work of NIP in this game.
Yeah, this was not close, as I think a lot of people would have picked up on from the point where we had that blue buff play. Again, despite a game where, of course, everyone is going to look pretty good, Renard really impressed me. Jwei's Skarner, of course, is something that I'd look out for, but even when going up against a tougher team, I'm excited to see Renard's LeBlanc once again, because the way that he was playing in this mid lane, I think he really knows the champion, and he's able to bring a level of control and sort of hybrid control mage assassin that we see a lot of LeBlancs get the balance of wrong. Yeah,
I appreciate how you've been early and often to kind of point out the good stuff that we saw from Renard's LeBlanc, as I think the way that he was playing, like the Q3 from Yone and then going back under that and finding the window to find that chain that can't be dodged, that's some of the good stuff you look for from these players. And when you play the game at this high of a level, it's those kind of things where that's a moment where a player can't dodge, right? And you can guarantee to hit that skill shot in the chain. Those are always big, so it was good to see some of those positives from Renard, and also Mako just having a really big Bard game. It was a bummer of a Nami game, so nice comeback from him.
Yeah, I mean, his Seraphine also wasn't fantastic. As a Seraphine endurer myself, I'm sure I couldn't have done much better, but it's tough. So in terms of this meta, I do wonder how Mako will deal with it, because the enchanters don't really seem to be great for him right now. I like the Bard who does fit into the pseudo enchanter, but it's not really the same.
No, it's not. But still a pick that a lot of those enchanters, they don't have mobility, so it kind of enables you to play engage, or at least create some priority without actually doing it. As it was a respectful attempt from Guwon, even if it didn't work. I was in the call like the Elder's gonna go over without NIP ever seeing it, and it's a little that I knew. Guwon had different plans. He tried.
Guwon also played pretty well. I mean, I liked the Nocturne. I think that the other issue that NIP have, which is a little bit more difficult to diagnose or figure out how they're going to work around it, is that we saw this in game 1 as well. They can make plays. They have the tools to make plays. They have the players that are willing to do it. I mean, especially Assum and Guwon, who are willing to get up in people's faces. But when it comes to timing plays that aren't directly around an objective, that are meant to get them an objective, they really miss.
Good call, Dio. Good call. I think that's a really big highlight for the series, and like how you're kind of wrapping up with that, because we did see positive plays from NIP, but we did see some of those made in windows. They can't turn it into more. That really was the story of game 1, where they were up. They lost the game up in kills and almost up in gold. They were up in gold until the Nexus fell. They didn't get the neutral objectives, and a lot of those plays were called at the wrong time, as they weren't able to turn them into more. So something to think about, as I think if NIP could clean that up, I mean, it was an interesting day of some interesting moments from both of our teams, but NIP definitely a team that we still have some hopes for in this group of 7.
Yeah, I think they've got a lot to be proud of. IG as well. I think while we didn't see Breathe really be able to have as crazy of a game when he was on Rumble or Scion, his Ambessa is definitely something to look out for. I like the way that Breathe was playing and is another player that, given the fact that he was subbed in for IG this split and that the roster is still in flux, is trying to earn his place almost as much as Renard.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout, Tia, and maybe a good one to end on. It's been fun casting with you today, man. But we've got to we have to hand this off. We have a fun next series coming up to a different group.
It's true. It's true. We'll get you guys with player of the game, player of the match a little bit later on, but it's late and we're gonna get Cubby to sleep. Thank you very much for bearing with me, Cubby. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in.
It was fun.
We will have some fantastic commentators, K-Man and Yanni, in to take care of you for the next series. WE